first shock I noticed is how I graduate. That means I stop paying school fees. I'm still earning. But again, 2-3 months down the road, I'm still broke. Because I feel like I should have more money because I'm not paying school fees anymore.
Yes, we're going to school together. You have your friends. But once you graduate, everyone will have their own life.
Yeah,
we don't
life,
have,
exactly.
we don't come
Yes,
from
yes.
the same families.
Yes.
Even when we get jobs, we don't get the same benefits from our workplace.
I got to realize the successful transition is not about job. From the experience for me, it was more about funding myself, the identity, and also making the impact within my team.
Success is more, in my opinion, about impact and sustainability, in my opinion.
Transition is something every one of us experiences at different points in life. Finishing university is one of the biggest ones. It is exciting, but it can also be uncertain, overwhelming, and unexpectedly emotional. Transition is more than just getting a job. It's about redefining who you are outside the classroom. It's about managing pressure from family, from society, and from yourself. In this episode, we are reflecting on personal experiences of navigating that in-between season, what surprised us, what challenged us, and what helped us move forward.
Welcome back, guys, to this podcast. I think we're doing this a bit differently. And a different setup, different panel, I guess. I think most, if not all of us, it's the first time we're appearing on this podcast. And so in this episode, we're going to talk about transitions and transition specifically, sharing our experiences transitioning from university to the next chapter of our lives, either continuing university or looking for a job or whatever we did after that. And we're doing it in a different setup and also in a way that it's more of a conversation than an interview. And we'll be sharing our experiences in hopes that, people can learn a thing or two from our experiences and hope that it makes their process easier. And maybe before we dive into the real conversation, we will start with a brief intro and mostly academic background to get to understand that transition, and then more of it will come as we share experiences. So for those seeing me for the first time, my name is Nelson Kitofu. I work as a communications officer at Solid Minds, and I have a Bachelor's of Science in Information Science, and I'm currently pursuing an MBA from the Oklahoma Christian University, which, now that I think about, I'm also sort of in my final semesters transitioning to after that, and you'll see how that will come later in the conversation. So who wanna go next to introduce themselves?
Okay. Everyone's facing me. My name is Ishimwe Sharon. I'm also working with Solid Mind as intern. I graduated at the University of Rwanda in 2024. I graduated with bachelor degree in clinical medicine and community health. I was a MasterCard Foundation scholar. That makes me an alumni now. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so my name is Samuel Amanya, and I'm also an alumni of the MasterCard Foundation Scholars Program. I graduated from UC Berkeley, where I pursued a degree in economics, and I'm currently working for Solid Minds as a monitoring, evaluation, research and learning manager. But I also have a startup, Big Findings, that provides services in research and analytics. Yeah.
I think I'm next. My name is Ange-Sandrine Wisanze. I also work at Solid Minds as a monitoring and evaluation officer. I'm also a MasterCard Foundation alumni. I graduated from the University of Edinburgh with a master's degree in global health policy. And before then, I did my undergraduate degree at Muhlenberg College in Pennsylvania with a dual degree in public health international relations.
Great. So now let's sort of dive straight into it, into transitions. So I have a number of prompts that will guide us. So what surprised you the most about your transition from university into your next chapter? And what chapter was that? Yeah, some of us continued studies from undergrad. Yeah.
I think I could start on that. I think the surprise was in the structure of how things play out, when you graduate in school. There's a focus on achievements, right? Whereby everything is measured, grades, as an assignment is done, and you can easily actually measure how you're doing. But then when you come out here, it's very hard to quantify how you are succeeding as an individual. So I think that was the major shock, and navigating that was quite straining to some extent, because you need to feel like you are succeeding, but then you can't easily measure it.
For me, if I can say, what surprised me was the way things are not clear and even are not linear for the structure of the university. The things are linear, like you have this time for study, the time for the mid-exam, the time for the end exam. So you have to prepare accordingly. But during the transition, you had your plan, then things change in between. Yeah, that's what surprised me.
Yeah. My experience was a bit different because I was not a MasterCard scholar, and I had a job when I graduated. And the surprising thing was that how much people are not impressed by the fact that I have a degree. I really thought, now that I have a degree, people will be more interested to receive my CV and everything. And you know how you start applying to jobs and say, hey, attached is my degree. And I say, since I attached it now, people will respond. And then I'm like, guys, it is attached. I even got to notify it. You know how it has like many stamps and it's a degree, right? So it is surprising because you think you've achieved something big, it's a degree, and then people think, okay, it's a degree, but there are other things to consider. Probably it's not your life or something like that. It was so shocking to me. Like,
I think for me, what was surprising is how long the transition will take. Sometimes I knew when I came back back to Rwanda, I knew I wanted to find a job. And I thought after if I land a job, then that's it. My feet are on the ground. But I didn't consider how long it will take actually to find a fulfilling job. Yeah. I worked multiple jobs before I could say actually where I am right now. I feel like I'm learning, I'm contributing, I'm doing something that I'm passionate about. So, and that time it takes, it varies from one person to another. And that really surprised me. I didn't know it will take long, and I didn't know how much it will take as well. I thought it will be I thought the only factor to consider is I found a job, that's it. Another thing that surprised me was, as I was saying, I was into finding a job, but I didn't consider other factors, other elements of transition. I spent 6 years abroad, and then I came back to Rwanda. Finding a job was one part of the transition. There is a reverse culture shock that someone goes through when you spend a long time not being home. There are some managing expectations from family, friends, society that also take a part of the transition process.
Interesting.
That's very interesting. And I think that reminds me of something that I think is quite important to mention, especially in this conversation, because I know somebody is going to watch this. It comes back to what we are talking about. In our context, there is a huge difference between the relationship capital that you need and the credential capital. And I think in most cases, young people, when they graduate, they position themselves with this credential capital, and they feel like, you know what, I'm gonna stand out because I have this credential, right? But then, especially in this context, I feel like overall, in the African context, the relationship capital outweighs the credential capital that you come with. So that was also very not really shocking, but enlightening to some extent to me, to realize that the relationship capital you need is more important than and how you navigate that in terms of being intentional and building these relationships and being patient is quite critical in the transition.
Funny. These are part of the things that you only learn when they're happening. Nobody prepares you for this.
Exactly.
You just find yourself, as I was saying, you have a degree, no one really considers that a lot.
Exactly.
It's not that impressive. What do you think are some of the things, I think this goes in line with that actually, some of the things you wish someone would have told you before you graduate or before you transition? Mine is very similar to that. I wish I knew how much, how much I need to be involved. In a sense that I wish someone would have advised me more to do more extracurricular activities. This goes with creating a network and all that, but not only for the purpose of having the network, but just for the purpose of you creating yourself an identity that goes beyond being a student. Having other skill set, having other people that that knows you, that I feel like it opens you opportunities that you didn't think about, and they end up playing actually a more important role than your degree and your credentials.
Yeah, I think I had the opportunity. Someone taught me about you should do those extra activities. You should volunteer. You should do all of those things. But no one told me that I should be ready mentally to manage the uncertainty. Like you may be having the network, you feel like you're prepared, but mentally not prepared for uncertainty. You apply for 50 jobs, then no one reaches out back. So managing all of those things.
Let's not talk emotions. What are some of the emotional shifts that you experienced?
I'm not sure if it falls into the emotional shift, but I feel like I had an imposter syndrome coming back. Yeah. I think it goes back to the reverse cultural shock. Sometimes you are home, but there is a part of you that feels like I'm even a stranger here because of all those things you did not expect that are happening, job rejections. You thought maybe, as you're saying, I have a degree, I have some quite experience, I did internship here and there, but all those things, they don't matter that much. There are other things that you're not really prepared for, that counts. I think it brings an emotion of, did I make a good decision to come back, or should I have stayed where I
I
was.
see.
I think, I don't know if it fits into that, but there is that kind of feeling of, did I make the right decision? I think here it's not working like I thought it would be working. And
As fast as you expected it
Exactly,
to work. So
yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
biggest issue.
Yeah, I think also coming to that, you mentioned about identity, and I think this whole thing has a form of identity tax that you kind of pay because of the pressures that come from different directions that especially in terms of expectations from, for example, people who believed in you, right? And you have this mindset or perspective that keeps you wondering if you are actually doing the right thing in terms of the trajectory that you are taking, right, vis-a-vis these different expectations. So you of course you get strained to some extent. You're like, am I in the right career path? Personally, for example, my background academically is quite cross-cutting. I can be in different spaces of professions, right? So deciding to some extent which profession.
You want to
In
pursue.
fact, if you look at, as Sandrine said, doing these different roles to find yourself, right? So you end up trying these different organizations, these different roles to make sure that you find a place where you fit. So, of course, there's some emotional expense or expenditure in one or the other that weighs on you because you're trying to really address all these different pressures internally, externally. Yeah. So that's what I could say.
Interesting.
Okay, for me, I would say I felt like no one supporting me. Like after graduation, everyone, let's say the students, they went there, they took their direction, I took mine. So then we lost that, our friendship, if I can say. And like I was all alone. I was feeling like lonely, and what I tried to reach out to my old friend. They are always saying we are also struggling. We are struggling with life. We are finding this ABCD. We are trying ABCD, and I think for me it was more of the loss of support. Like
I relate a lot to that because I think it's also one of the main emotional shifts, just seeing your friendship and relationship fading out. Because when you're graduating, there's this excitement that you're not dealing with the school anymore. There's no academic department. I don't know. There's this thing that you're leaving behind. You feel so excited about it, but then you get to realize that in what you're leaving behind is also those friendships, those moments you had with your friends. You can't connect anymore. For you guys to meet up, it's now a whole project. You need to prepare, you need to plan who's available when, and then you just see 2-3 months passes, you haven't talked to catch up with a friend, and it's so sad to realize. And then you're like, okay, life happens, but again, in the process you also get to make other friendship in whatever other things you're doing. But yeah, it is one of those things that you don't notice at the first as it happens. It's only later that you just start to realize that, oh, I'm becoming a bit lonely these days. I mean, you don't have things to do, you don't have places to go because your friends are not there. And I'll be curious to hear now the identity shift. Sam, you talked about it. I don't know how you two relate to it, but to me, I think other than emotionally, there's this identity that school gives you that you get to lose, and then I don't know, it's something you never prepared for. Because when I was still a student, it was very easy to go places with just your student ID, and you pass. If you're applying for a conference or a workshop to apply to, let's say I'm a student from here, and then, you have a sort of, you know how you present yourself, and all of a sudden you're not a student anymore. When you say you're an alumni, it doesn't weight that much. Now you're like, okay, I'm just Nelson, and what does that mean? And you're not covered with that, title of being a student and all that comes with it. And then you left your own. You start building now a personality around that, or you're calling yourself a volunteer in what and what. You're a freelancer. You're trying to attach another.
I get what you're saying.
You're attaching another personality on you because you're not a student anymore, and you're like, okay, who am I? So that's one of the most weird phases to go through when one is going to transitions. Yeah.
I think I also see identity shifts in terms of when you're going through education, there are a lot of things that change about you. You go to school, like for me, for instance, I did 4 years of undergrad, immediately my master's degree. Those are 5 years of non-stop schooling. And doing it abroad, there are a lot of things that I was exposed to. There are things I learned there. There are things I unlearned there. Coming back, there are the way how people know you. People know you as the Sandrine of 6 years ago. Yet you have grown. You have experienced a lot of things. You have shaped your identity. What you like, what you don't like, what you tolerate, what you don't tolerate. I feel like it goes back to what I was talking about, the other aspect of transition that comes with managing those expectations and that reverse cultural shock, and then trying to say, actually, how do I fit in my community, but as a new person? Then where do I stand? Where do I draw a green and a red line? I think that can also be challenging. And I'll allude to something that Sharon said. When you don't have support and actually someone who you can talk to about those challenges, someone who understands both perspectives, it can be challenging.
We navigate this differently. We have different, should I say, mechanisms or strategies we do to just, move into that. And I imagine it's a different experience. Someone who's coming from, you're studying away from home. It's not even abroad. Even when you go in the upcountry, you've been on the campus for the past 4 years, you've been coming home, yes, but you haven't been living at home. So there's expectations, what people expect of you, but you also have expectations because you're now a graduate, you're coming back home, there's what you think you want to do, you want to implement a lot of things, and usually there's a clash because reality, becomes reality, and I don't know. I'm just curious to know how do we navigate that personally? From your experience.
I think I can say something about that. The identity challenge is quite real, because this when you are a scholar or when you are a student, of course you have your identity defined by that setting of the academic institution, right? And the challenge is, these days the world of work has really shifted, whereby people do things that don't have labels like it used to be, whereby you find someone is a doctor, is an engineer, and then it's upon individuals these days to actually figure out where they fit in the work environment. This, combination of different tools that are available, right? So I think there's that challenge of establishing one's identity in the professional world or in the work world, that this is where I fit. Because when we graduate and start working, we want to be called something. want to be identified with a certain profession, right? I'm a data analyst, I'm a software engineer, I'm a nurse, I'm a graphic designer, etc., right? So, and usually it's not a straight line. You don't get into that space immediately, right? So that's a big challenge. But I think for me, what really honestly helped me, because I'm part of these different individuals who are part of this Mastercard Foundation alumni community, most of them from my former university, and you realize that they are actually navigating the same situation, right? You realize that this is not a personal struggle. This is something that everyone is navigating. So in that case, it kind of gives you, it sustains your momentum, gives you confidence, I am in the right direction. Trying to establish myself, whether I'm, this entrepreneurial venture, this path I'm choosing. So you realize that there's this bunch of people from your background that are actually navigating the same journey. I think
makes it easier for you.
Yeah.
Do you have a thing to say on that?
I think for me, I also passed through what he said, but adding on that, I just got the chance to have the supervisor at the workplace. So he always makes sure that you're finding yourself, like you're doing what you really like and connecting it to your long-term goal. So yeah, he just helped me, like finding myself, my identity.
I think that goes into practical lessons of like things we did, because that was the next prompt. Like, what is like one thing you think you did in terms of a step you took, or an initiative you did that you think made a difference in your transitioning, from being a scholar to either continuing your studies or your finding a job or continuing your job. Because for me, since I was working when I graduated, I think one thing that made a shift was, first of all, in understanding that the job market doesn't want just a degree. It's not enough to attach a degree and then just wait because you think you have a degree and then they'll come back running to you. It's also understanding that there are other skills that I should have focused on or I need to put forth.
Yeah.
Because people are more interested on how articulate you can be, how can you talk about what you can do, what have you done before. It's more your experiences that really matters than, the credentials that you have. And I think that understanding now, for me, it changed everything to the point where instead of me applying with a degree attached and all that things, I was more interested in, okay, how do I approach these people from my experience point of view, showing them this is what I've worked on, this is what I've done, how can we work together, sort of conversations. So it's a small shift, but it changes everything, even in how you get rejections. So it's not, rejection don't hurt that hard anymore, because now you understand I'm being rejected not because I'm not a good student, but probably because I don't have this particular experience.
Yeah.
I should have spent maybe 3 years doing this to qualify to this. And it also gets to help you understand now where you fit best, as you're saying. I'm probably not yet, the best to label myself as an engineer or these kind of titles, but I would rather start here and then see how I proceed from here.
Yeah, for me, I think what helped me was volunteering. During my last year, I volunteered with SwordMind, Baobab platform, and then did my internship with SCN, where I gained some practical skills that I can apply or put on my CV, because even writing a CV, you need to put there some skills experience, though it's just volunteering, but someone who is going to read your CV will be like, you did this before, maybe you can also do it here. And that can give you a chance to be, maybe your CV to be like, to go on the next step. So I think volunteering or like finding internship when you're a student, that will help someone to like gain some practical skills to apply after graduation. Yeah.
How about mistakes? Are there mistakes you think you did that you learned from to say it best?
I think for me, the mistake, I would say, was a mistake of the mindset. Expecting a continuity of a structure, a clear structure, that, I'm gonna finish school and land into a role that aligns with my interests. Of course, I did several internships, right? With renowned institutions globally. The COVID-19 pandemic came in. I feel like most people were not really prepared for that.
True.
And its effects afterwards. But that mindset of not actually thinking that to some extent things will just be fluid and dynamic and uncertain, right? And I think that also speaks to what I think I did, or what I would recommend doing, is to look at this as a journey that someone has to walk or travel in, and be flexible.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's a combination of these small achievements, outputs that take you to a place where I feel like, this is something that I can do long term.
Yeah.
Right? Instead of thinking that, where I am now, I'm in the wrong place. I made a mistake. And then when these other pressures from expectations, from even yourself, because at some point you realize that the version of yourself that existed maybe in the program, the Mastercard Foundation, has to be reviewed. It's not the same version that is gonna take you in what comes next. So understanding that this is something I have to work on. I'm going to be rebuilding myself, reinventing my version, being open-minded, being patient, and also actually leveraging that pressure. Because if you look at that pressure as negative, instead of it propelling you forward, it should be something you feel like, this is good that I have this pressure internally and externally. I have to achieve, I have to move forward, I have to end up somewhere. Yeah.
I think for me, I'll start with what helped me, what I did that helped me to ease the transition. There are internship opportunities that I did here in Rwanda when I was still studying abroad. Those helped me to strengthen my local networks. And when I came back, actually, my supervisors were there to give me good recommendations. They knew who I was, not only as a student, but also practically. This is what you can do, your strengths are here, your areas of improvement are here. And conversations with them and their recommendations really, really helped me. Another thing that helped me was to stay connected with the Mastercard Foundation, especially from the University of Edinburgh and the alumni network in Rwanda. I met people who I go to have conversation with them and tell them what I'm interested in, what I'm looking for, and then they guided me to opportunities. So I would say that for me, the big weapon was the networks that I made. And I think, speaking of mistakes, I think for me was to stay too long. Earlier we spoke about like how many positions, how many organizations you try before you feel like actually I feel like I'm contributing here, I'm learning here.
Yeah.
I think in some places I stayed too long, in places where I wasn't really growing.
Yeah.
But because of the uncertainty of what if I leave, what will happen next? I'd rather stay here for a short bit as I'm looking for another opportunity. But you realize that you lose 6 months
Yeah.
by just staying in a place that you know exactly that it doesn't doesn't fit with your values. You're not growing. You're not contributing. Yeah, I think that's one of the mistakes I made. I think I can also, earlier you asked about how to manage the identity shift. What helped? I think for me personally, it was staying grounded to my values and knowing how to translate them in different society, in different communities. Let's say if it's kindness, how kindness is demonstrated here in Rwanda might be different from how kindness is translated to another culture. So when you start to apply what works in one culture to another culture, sometimes you lose yourself, and the people you were connecting with, the people you're talking with, they don't really understand what you're trying to do because there is that lack of transferring your values, your personality into that specific culture you're living in.
Yeah.
It is indeed a journey.
Yeah.
It's a journey.
It's a long one. The way I think about it, as Sam was explaining, when you are graduating, you are at the peak of your academics because, probably graduating with best, grades and everything, that's the best you could have achieved in that degree. Yes, you're at the peak, but also coming to the job market, you are literally at the start.
Exactly.
And usually the expectation is I'm the peak, probably means I'm also the peak of my career, which is wrong. So now doing that shift to understand that, okay, this I'm done, I'm the peak, now let me start this new journey.
Exactly.
And it's good that, some people have that chance to be accompanied, to have people to support you, to have a network around you, people that, can relate to your story. But also it's a more difficult journey to go alone. Because these are things you didn't know you'd be facing them, but here they are, and you need to navigate them and find your way through it.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest challenge that I think I've heard many people say, and I think all of us here can relate to, is money. It's another thing that we are never ready for.
Yeah. Never.
So on many levels, because the expectations, you're like, okay, now I'm an engineer, I'm this title, I'm a graduate, this and this, and then you come here at the job market, and the best job you get, you see the salary, you're like, okay, is this a joke? You're like kidding, right? There's a support you used to have, you don't have it anymore. There's this burden that all of a sudden is on you. And you have no other way to offload it than, now you have to take these hard lessons at a go. I don't know how we navigate that, how we go through that process. It's a very complex one because it's personal, it's professional, it affects the family dynamics at home, your friendships, your everything. It actually contributes a lot on your identity shift if you think about it, because now you're literally becoming a new person. And unfortunately, most of the time we get to realize this when we are in that moment. You're learning as it is happening, and it can become a source of many other problems. you know, the imposter syndrome you're talking about, or many others. So yeah, let's talk money a bit.
You know that those people who come to university and they be like, after graduation, we got this job and it was high paying. We had a lot of money, and as a student, you believe like after graduation,
That's what will happen to you.
I'm an engineer
Yeah.
or I'm a doctor. I get that job and have that money. Even your family, they be like you're an engineer, so they have this high expectation. Maybe they are going to give you two of their children so that you may be paying the school fees. So you're an engineer, yeah. Yet you are just an intern somewhere and earning like 20% of what they're expecting you to be earning. So for me, what helped me there.
The black tax. I think it's a black tax, right?
Yeah, for me it was just communication. I had to communicate with my dad and my mom. I told them, you know what, I'm just an intern. And
Don't expect a lot from me.
Don't expect that a lot from me. I'm just an intern, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of money, I think for me, the pressures I got financially were mostly in terms of the goals I had. Yeah, you know, usually you have these goals that you want to achieve financially, and then you also have the timeline in which you want to achieve those financial goals, right? But then you realize that professionalism or a career is not just the financial reward, in my opinion, right? You start to see that it's about finding yourself in a place or establishing yourself in a place where I feel like you are not just achieving financial goals, but you are making impact and you are seeing sustainability with this path or trajectory that you are taking. And I think arriving to that point is very important, in my opinion, because you start to see that even these financial goals I have, I'll achieve them if I establish myself in a journey or in a place where I am contributing impactfully. I mean, for instance, if you want to be a researcher and a data analytics professional, and you deliver this report that is helping the organization you're supporting, right? There's that fulfillment you get from that, and you feel like it's getting you closer to that sustainable, career, profession that will give you the financial fruits that you think you need. Yeah, I think that's what I would say when it came to dealing with this financial aspect of my career.
I think for me, I'll speak it in two lenses. There is one when you graduated, you don't have a job yet. It means you're not earning anything, right? That's, you have different challenges compared to someone who has a job, but probably what they're earning and their needs, they're not aligning. So I'll speak more to the second part, because the first one, it's you need support, or you need support from family and friends, or you can look at entrepreneurship, like what can I do to earn money, and the little that I get, the support that I get from family and friends, how do I manage it? For the second one, I think the main challenge that most students face, like when you start, not only student, when you start your first job, it's the financial management skills. Sometimes we have, as Sam was saying, we have ambitions when we graduate. Oh, I want to buy this for myself. I want to support family. I want to do this and this. And you have that desire
I feel like
to
you deserve to treat yourself
exactly.
at least.
But you look at the also the costs, the things that where you're spending. You need transport to go to. You need lunch money. You need all of those things, and knowing where to put your money and where to not put your money, and how to save is the most important thing. I think sometimes we graduate, we go into the work environment without the firm skills of financial management.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and I think I'll also speak to that, looking to graduating students, those who are getting ready to graduate. It's good that when you have a chance, start thinking about enhancing your financial management skills before you even start earning that money. It helps a lot. Yeah, I think that's.
Yeah. But my experience is a bit different, but I resonate a lot to what you're talking about. Because for me, when I graduated, I had a job. And I was paying for my final year for my school fees. And then the first shock I noticed is how I graduate. That means I stop paying school fees. I'm still earning. But again, 2-3 months down the road, I'm still broke. Because I feel like I should have more money because I'm not paying school fees anymore. And then I'm like, where is my money going? And I think many people relate to this because you think you made more money. I mean, you should be at least, seeing a difference.
There's some sort of lifestyle inflation.
I don't know. And that's the problem with money. You can't even tell where the money is
Probably
going.
you thought you had more money and you spend it more.
Exactly.
I mean, I expected to have more money. I definitely should have. But
This caller who said the money is just a greeted message, or it's a viewers.
definitely, just as viewers, it passed through, but you can't really trace it and know what did I do. And these are harsh realities that you get to notice, and you're like, okay, am I bad at using my money? Is it? I don't know. It's very shocking when you notice it. You're like, okay, I should have more money, or at least I should see noticeable change.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm wearing more expensive clothes, or I'm going out more than I used to, or lifestyle continues, and you just notice that, okay, maybe there are other skills that I should have learned that would have helped me manage, or at least expect that a few months from now I'll have more money because I won't have school fees to pay. So how do I manage this money that now I'm having? How do I budget? These are hard lessons to learn when you are not prepared to them. You never had a chance to have this conversation. You're just like, okay, you have to.
I think I agree with what Sandrine said. In fact, I think it kind of responds to what you are saying. When there's an opportunity, I mean, even a stipend, in my opinion, someone can build some savings from the stipend they get. If they're aware that at some point there are some realities that might emerge where you are not earning, but you need to survive, right? So I think having those skills earlier and folks saving some bit of the money they get to prepare for those situations where they might not be earning, yet they need to survive. So I think those skills are really important. I agree.
Yeah.
Another thing that I really believe it's important is also to manage the peer pressure.
True.
Yes, because like knowing that, yes, we're going to school together, you have your friends, but once you graduate, everyone will have their own life.
Yeah,
we don't
life,
have, we
exactly.
don't come from the same families
Yes.
background.
Yeah.
Even when we get jobs, we don't get the same benefits from our workplace. So the fact that I start the same time, let's say me and Nelson, we start jobs at the same time, it doesn't mean that when Nelson's buy something new, I also feel the pressure to buy it. There is a way I should understand that it's my financial journey, mine alone. Yes.
Yeah.
Without too much comparing and desiring what others are achieving, I think it helps to stay grounded and actually to be grateful.
Yeah.
And to be grateful of actually, if I'm earning 500K, I'm grateful for this. Of course, I'm aiming for more, but at the moment, let me use my 500K wisely. And by the time I get to 1 million, 2 millions, then things will change.
Yeah.
Yes. Knowing that it's a journey that will take time and that will be unique. It's my journey, not everyone else's journey.
That's true.
Yeah, because you know there's a friend of mine who very skilled, he's an engineer, software engineer. He graduated and he couldn't find a job for the first couple months, and he was freaking out. And then at some point he got a good job, and he said it was an act of God, right? I was finished. So I think we shouldn't really be waiting for the act of God. Of course, we need it, right? We need it, but also really being realistic and prepare some funds
True.
that will help us survive some hard situations is quite important instead of waiting for this act of God to, yeah.
So there's also something Sanjan talked about. Sometimes you be a student, let's say a MasterCard Foundation scholar
Yeah.
at a university, and you're the one supporting the family.
Yeah.
Like you're getting your monthly allowance, you have this percentage to send to your parent. Then now you have forgot about yourself, like the saving, then the graduation comes in, the allowance, they're no longer coming, and also your friends are navigating their life, you're no longer getting the support from them. Then your parent, now the expectations are high. When it comes to finances, like you used to send them, they say $20. So now they are saying, our children, our baby girl,
50.
was 50.
50 bucks.
It's 50. So that's also be a challenge for some scholars around there. Like you have graduated, you don't have, there's no job coming yet. You have like 5 months staying there. Just you need support. You can't get support from your family. That your classmates are even navigating their own life. They are having their challenges. So now you're just there.
Yeah.
Don't want to go back home. You just in the city, like life
Yeah.
It's hard.
is hard.
So I think that speaks to, being open and communicate and be, talk to your loved ones about the realities. Yeah.
What is one money lesson you think every student should be aware of? At least where to start from, because money. I don't think one ever, masters financial literacy to the point where you know how to manage money. It's a journey that you keep learning as you grow and everything. But I'm just thinking of someone listening to us and they're like, okay, so what do you mean? What should I do? Where do I start from?
I think for me, let me be honest, and I've come to learn this. There are 2 things: budgeting and saving, right? Because when you budget, you can see your bills, the bills you need, And also budgeting helps you to live below your means, right? If you realize maybe I need housemates, I shouldn't rent my own apartment. I need to live with other people so that we split the bills. Maybe I need to cook food instead of eating out in the restaurant, right? Maybe I need to stay in a cheaper place. And then you need to save some money because emergencies can happen. But also, you need to really be very focused on earning. Yes. It doesn't matter even if it's small earning, doesn't align with your skills, with your background. Maybe you come from a prestigious background and you expect to really be in prestigious opportunities, right? You need to earn, whether temporarily, at least have some earning from somewhere that is coming in to
I think I agree with what Sam said. I'll say it like, as someone with a student status, be financially realistic. That's what I can say.
True. That's
Yeah.
important.
I also agree with what Sam said, and just adding on that, if you're saving, just find a way to use the saving to earn as a student or a scholar out there.
Right. Let's talk success and growth. How do you think the understanding or definition of success changes throughout the transition period? Because we're talking expectations, how you're graduating, expectations you have, how you meet reality, how it is. And I think in that process, you get to understand it differently, either in how you define success. How do you consider yourself successful? How do you change your expectations or what you're going after? Because it also gets to change with time. Sometimes you start expecting something high, and then you start lowering your standards a bit. Or I don't know, like how does that concept or idea of success keep evolving or changing during this transition period?
I think for me, success shifts significantly from when you are a student to when you become a professional. See, when you're a student, it's all about achievements, achieving a grade on an exam, test, completing the exams, completing the term, with the GPA, so it's all about achievements. But when, in my opinion, when it comes to the professional world, when you start transition, you realize that success is more, in my opinion, about impact and sustainability, in my opinion. Because you see, shouldn't be a one-off thing. You need to be in a place where there's sustainability.
True.
Right? And then you also, because you see, at the end of the day, you want to feel like you are valuable to your community, to your society, etc. And that is the impact I'm talking about. Do you feel like you're making contributions that are advancing your team, your organization, that is why at some point you might even be earning some good money, but when you feel out of place. But when you are impactful, Sandrine talked about their values. To some extent, you feel like the work you're doing aligns with your values, with your interests, with your goals, right? And then you feel impactful. And then you feel like what you're doing is sustainable. It is in the trajectory of the career you want to pursue. Skill-wise, knowledge, the industrial changes in your space, it's sustainable. Yeah.
And I feel like I really wish we had a system in place to help us at least remind you that during that period, because these are things you get to realize later that, you know, I was successful actually then. Because when we're pursuing whatever you want to pursue after university, we don't see what is going on. You know, we're running after everything. We don't want to miss out any opportunities and everything. But a few years later, when you look back, you feel like I wasn't even actually failing. I was doing what I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can't think of opportunities that you missed. You know, you did what you're supposed to do, and you were successful in that time. So that's what you're supposed to be doing. You probably didn't enjoy it best because of the pressure and everything. But if at least you knew, okay, this in itself, me being a graduate, me having my degree, that's already success. So now, how do I pursue another success without, you know, me undergrading what I've already achieved? So this is already a success. I've achieved this. So how do I grow from here to keep growing? So it's just, I don't know. It's important to remind that at that stage, and realize that, okay, you know, this thing they say, to give yourself grace, to allow yourself to be like, okay, this is where I'm supposed to be now. Let me be easy on myself a bit and go with the flow or whatever I need to be doing in the process.
Yeah, I agree. I think I would speak to that in terms of growth. Also knowing that growth is not like an upward graph that goes up. There is stumbling and falling and stepping again. So we shouldn't see growth only in positive experiences. You can, because we're speaking it in terms of transition, you can think probably my transition means this, and then when you get there, actually you realize that there's some shortfalls, and then those shortfalls, learning from them will help you to know how to manage challenges tomorrow. And I see that as growth as well. Yeah, it's not that everything has been on a straight line. I moved from this to this to this to this.
Yeah.
But also there is going back, there is falling, there is standing up again. And there are people who will take your hand to stand up again. All those take part of growth. So I don't see it as something that is really straight or something that comes from positive experience only. It can also come from bitter experiences as well.
True.
For me, I'll talk about it in terms of transition. Before the transition, I was like, a successful transition is ending up with a job.
Yeah.
Like you graduate, then you have a job. Then after that, I got to realize the successful transition is not about job. From the experience, for me, it was more about funding myself, the identity, and also making the impact within my team, and also making sure that the work I would do, the people would do with it, they just get they earn something or benefit from what we do. Like it was more of that.
So here's the last prompt. So if you could speak directly to a scholar who's about to graduate, so what would you encourage them to start thinking about and how? Like now, speaking to those going through transition right now, what is it do you think they need to start thinking about, and how should they think about it?
I think for me, I would say it's easier when you have a plan. It doesn't have to be a concrete plan, but at least in your last year, have an idea of what you want to do next. It helps with not being everywhere. Yeah, if you want to go to graduate school, if you want to do entrepreneurship, if you want to find to go into the employment world, I think it's better to, if you don't know, that's fine, but if you're able, it's better to have that plan, because then when you're preparing, you know what you're preparing for.
Yes.
You're not applying to jobs today. Tomorrow you're applying to graduate school. Tomorrow you are pitching somewhere. I'm not saying that you cannot do. I'm not saying that you cannot do all of that, but I think personally having a focus at some point in life, it helps.
Yeah.
Before you start expanding, it helps. It helps to find yourself first and then know what else you can explore.
What I can add on that is that I think you need also to understand that there'll be a time factor in that equation. And you need to be conscious of that. So every journey you want to pursue, it will take some time. It might be quicker, it might be slower, but it will take time, and you need to be conscious of that. It's not like I graduate today, I apply tomorrow, and then next week I start a job. You can be lucky, and it happens like that, but you need to factor time. Actually, even in success that we're talking about, it's usually, it doesn't have to come abruptly. So there's the factor of time that will come with it. So in you planning what you want to pursue, so understand that, it will take time, it will be a process. As I was saying, you're ending on a high peak and now you're starting slow on another journey. So it will take you time to climb a few ladders so that you get to where you can start seeing the impact, you can start feeling that you are contributing, and you can see the results of what you're doing. Another thing is to probably ease the pressure on yourself. So you need to be in a position where you understand that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. And don't pressure time, don't pressure the world to give you what it owes you directly at that time. So allow yourself that time, allow yourself that period of, okay, I'm doing, it's a journey I'm going through. There'll be this step, after this step there'll be this one, and it eventually work out. So usually we are very frustrated, you're thinking about a million things at once. Oh, what if this fails, or this? And some things will fail, and that's just what reality is. Some things will fail, and you will learn from those failures, and you will keep doing them. I think time is the most factor we usually don't consider in our planning, but be conscious that some time will be spent. It will take you some time, and consider that in whatever you're planning or want to pursue.
I think to add on that, Sandrine talked about the plan, emphasize the plan, and then time, the time factor. And I think, yes, you should have a strategy plan in mind, A, B, C, D, right? And as Sandrine said, it's not good to really be, swaying around, going to this, going to that. It's good to, sometimes I feel like even having so many plans can hurt you, like plan A, plan B, plan C.
True.
Right? Yeah, to some extent.
Yes.
But I also think you really need to be patient with yourself. Right? You need to be patient with yourself. You might have these plans and then they end up not working out. But by being patient with yourself, you also need to play a long game. For me, I call it a long game. Like, you play a long game, you have this ultimate goal you feel like you should achieve and stick to that. And then in the middle here, these uncertainties can happen, to your plans. The plans you had, they shift, they change. But, with this long game that you have to really stick to it. And then be a very active person. Take action.
Sure.
Right? You have to take action all the time. Don't be passive. Don't really. Every day you have to really think about your goals and take these small actions. If one of your goals is to do grad school, right? At least every year apply. Get rejected, right? But make sure that every admission cycle you have pushed in your application to one of the schools, right? if, I mean, it's to become a certain profession, make sure that you're working on your skills. You know, make sure you're working on in your skills, etc. So take action, have this long game plan, and of course, yeah, limit so many plans, right? In my opinion, that's what I feel like, because you know, sometimes when you have so many plans, you can easily lose patience when one plan doesn't work out.
True.
Instead of being grounded, right? Because you feel like, you know what, if I try this and I meet some resistance, I'm gonna shift to this, right? When actually, you know, sometimes when you think hard about something, in some cases you find solutions. Unlike if you have so many plans and you try this plan A and doesn't work with some basically you're always pursuing path of least resistance, which is to some extent not good in my opinion. Yeah.
Okay, I agree with having a plan and also being active. Adding on that, I would tell this young me to have the mental ability to face with uncertainty. You know, maybe having the plan, but in the way, things may change. So having the mental ability to face the uncertainty and challenge them.
I think we can't exhaust this topic of transition. It's a lifelong, you know, thing, and I'm happy that we just managed to have this conversation, at least to establish the ground rule to where to start from when you're thinking about transition. And I hope those who listen to this will learn a few things from our experiences, but also understand that, you know, it's not rocket science. It's not this is how it happens, or, you know, one's experience is different from the other. The most important thing is, I think, it's the awareness, knowing that this is something that will happen, that you're going through. These are things that are ahead of you, and then now it's up to you to start planning ahead of it, thinking about a few things, see how it relates to your personal context in different ways, and, you know, and succeed in it. I think once you know what you're going through, once you hear stories of others who have experienced the same, I think it sort of eases the way. It doesn't guarantee you success, but at least you're a few steps ahead, and, you know, it will be you to play the biggest role to now navigate all these things. And I think, as far as I think, we're also still learning, because
Yes.
Exactly.
And
You're
also
also
understand
transitioning.
that transition is part of life.
exactly, yeah, it's not what's the Kinyarwanda, the English word for biachit? Yeah, you know, it's just part of life. It's just another step that is coming, and that one, once it's done, another one will come, and, you know, life will continue.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's it. Thank you all for being here. Let's see now what we'll do next.
Thank you for hosting us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for
Great.
hosting us. Thank you, guys.